So yeah, for those of you who don't know who we are, this is Radio Reflex. We are Flesh and Blood podcast, Flesh and Blood TCG, obviously being our card game of choice. So we also tend to, at the end of each of our podcasts, talk a little pop culture or whatever is taking our fancy at the time. Usually quite a bit of pro wrestling sneaks into that part of the podcast. So I'm Ian. The other guy's Alan.
Hey, I'm Alan. I'm the one that's kind of fiendishly looking at his phone to see if anything's going on. So probably just ruined the first part of the podcast. But let's adjust myself. I'm here in this fancy bedroom.
Yeah, totally not ruined if you're listening to the audio podcast tomorrow and not watching this terrible attempt at a stream.
Yeah, I think everyone can join in with us in the humor of a situation, since you guys are all stuck at home. This is happening to everybody. If anybody out there streams, can you let us know what you're streaming, how your streaming has been?
Yeah, because let's talk about that in our housekeeping. We have actually played a few games since the last podcast, which we were totally going to put online. We tried streaming once, it didn't work. We tried recording once, it didn't work. We recorded on TTS last night, only for me to discover the sound didn't come through. So while I've got the game, I don't have any of the audio. We are definitely we're trying our best to play some Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
While
valuable lessons.
Yeah, and so we are learning like everyone else is at this time. So we hopefully will get more content like as we work this out and as we work out our stream and our recording and stuff like that. Hopefully things will get better. I mean, maybe it's we change channel. Maybe we try going Facebook Live, see if that's maybe it's a Twitch thing. We're not sure, but yeah. So,
see, my biggest problem is I just get Leo to come over, just to drive over and sort it all out. But he's beyond reach. He's only available online. Leo being my streaming sensei or stream studios.
He's currently online. I see in the messages he is online.
That's why I'm sweet talking him, because I don't pay him for any of his services. I need to make Leo feel like a big man. He knows what I'm talking about. But of course, this is a bit of a different, bit of a different cast because this is normally skip week for us.
Normally
we decided we might as well do it. We might as well, we've got some things to talk about. We might as well cast tonight and provide some content for all you people out there.
Yeah, and since as I said, gameplay has just been beyond us with the technical difficulties, we thought, why not talk? What could possibly go wrong with a little bit of talk?
Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, let's first thing, let's maybe just go over the two games that we have managed to get together, which you had two victories. First, we did our box sealed, and Ian went with Ranger, and I decided very bravely, bravely to go with Wizard. I decided to go bravely with Wizard because I got the Wizard Legendary, so I thought might as well try it out, and that was certainly learned a lot about Wizard and box sealed. Iain didn't learn as much about Ranger since he dispatched me so quickly.
Yeah, I think that that's probably a match that is best lost to the annals of time. I don't think anyone would have learned a lot from that match, other than Wizard is very hard to build and play properly if you haven't had a fair amount of practice with it. Yeah.
Also, even in box sealed, I had a lot of, my deck was pretty much all Wizard cards for like a few whispers. But yeah, I did throw some damage at Iain, but every time I threw damage against Iain, he basically was like, yeah, I don't see a problem. Everything is fine. Whereas when Iain threw damage back at me,
yeah, it was never huge amounts of damage. I think is the key point. You always it was effectively like an attack, and so you're throwing sort of between 4s and 7s at me, which with Azalea having a lot of arcane barrier, it ended up not feeling too much threat from the Wizard. There were no big sort of 10+ turns.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. And that's what I needed to do at some point, just to at least put you on the back foot. So we can skip over that game. It wasn't terribly exciting, but we did do it with the old webcams rather than TTS. And then we played the Brute on Brute last night.
Yes, again,
which was pretty cool.
Again, that was very cool. So we are playing a best of 3. So I am one up, and I will say that the deck that you were using was very good. I know where it came from. If you want to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, no. I played a list provided to me by Kale. It's a new Brute list. It's super cool. It's very red line, super aggressive, and it's got a bunch of Arcane Rising cards. It's so aggressive and good that I think I only needed to roll Scabskins once, basically, and I rolled a 6. It was super cool, although it has very little blue in it, so sometimes some of the hands, you really have to think about the hands. You really have to think about what you're going to throw away. But a cool thing is I got a chance to play Art of War. First time I've actually played the card. I used one of its abilities to banish attack action. And funnily enough, I actually banished an Enlightened Strike and just worked out super well. I was like, oh, do I throw away? Do I throw it? I mean, who throws away Enlightened Strike? But it totally turned out to be the best action, the best option, basically.
Yeah.
So amazing.
And I was playing a Brute list that I've been playing around with. It's very similar to a Brute list that Carol has been working on. I know. Me and him had a discussion a few days ago after he was the first person to beat Jacob's Runeblade's deck. So we had a chat. And mine was more of a sort of a 6+ deck, which anyone who's played me recently, I've been pretty big advocate for the 6+ attack decks with Brute. I like to get the Intimidate in and stuff like that. And also the reason I like playing it is because what won me the game was because I had a lot of 6+ cards in my hand. I managed to get you. I think I was on 5, and I managed to get you to 2. And draw into my reckless swing with 1 blue barraging beat down and 2 6+ attacks. So pretty much
it was beautiful.
Pretty much
no way I could miss.
You were drawn dead as soon as you attacked, because the only thing that would have saved you, which I'm not even sure is in your deck, would have been Command and Conquer, which would have stopped me from being able to use my defense reaction. But unfortunately, you lead out with either Scar for a Scar or Ravenous Rebel.
Yeah.
I think it was.
No, I didn't have a Command and Conquer in the main deck. It's a sideboard option, and when I built the deck, I just built the main deck that Cal had set out for me. So Command and Conquer would have just proves how good Command and Conquer is.
super solid. Now I've played a few games because I am in the Metrics card merchant, both leagues, both the casual and the competitive league, and I'm playing Brute, obviously. And yeah, Command and Conquer is a great card. Especially really messes with Bravo's plans quite a bit, as well as just anyone who's set up that arsenal. If you can get a couple of intimidates from barraging beatdowns, followed by your Command and Conquer, especially if you give it the +2 off the Goliath Gauntlet, making it very hard to block. You can really mess up the next turn, as well as
but I mean, in
a bit of damage.
With Art coming out, I mean, who doesn't want to have something in their arsenal? I mean, like Plunder Run is very popular. I mean, there's all sorts of cards, and obviously Ranger. I'm sure people are playing Ranger. Ranger always wants to have something, and if it's Arsenal, and it's going to reload with defense reactions as well. So, I mean, it's a good time for Command and Conquer, basically.
Yeah. And I've been lucky enough to get 2 so far. Hopefully, I've still got a couple. I've still got a couple of boxes to open, so hopefully I'll get that third one.
I've got that third one for you if you are, because I may have only opened 2 Art of War, but I managed to open 5 Command and Conquers. So if you don't pull it in, I've got that, because I need that last red in the ledger. I'm still missing 1 red in the ledger.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. That's probably something that we can do off podcast.
Yeah. Not that any deals are going to go through at the moment.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, I don't know. Can we buy online homing pigeons yet? Like,
possibly not.
To deliver pigeon mail yet?
I don't know. Can I get a drone all the way to your place? Possibly too far for drone delivery, but I suppose that's the ultimate, isn't it?
What we need is to find like 3 or 4 people to all get the same drone, so they have the same charger, that are just in between our houses, so we can fly it from one, they can then take over and fly it to the next, like that.
Well, otherwise you can always trade with people that are in the same supermarket zone as you. you just make sure that you all go to the supermarket at the same time and meet up there, and you can do your trades, while queuing to get into the supermarket.
Yeah. I
can't believe yesterday I actually said good luck to somebody online. They said, I'm going to the supermarket, and I was like, good luck. Just good luck, stay safe as you go to the supermarket.
Fair enough.
It was pretty. It was actually Nikki. I said, stay safe. Take precautions. Maybe a shotgun. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So shall we get on to, now that we've gone through your victories?
Yeah.
We want to try and get on to. What do we want to do? We want to try and get into the whole subject of, there's actually a lot going on right now, and we didn't really plan this podcast, so we're going to jump right into the fact that there is now online play that's officially sanctioned by LSS, meaning that stores can run events through GEM for online play. There's now leagues starting. There's tabletops. There's a whole bunch of things. I'm not even sure where to start again.
Yeah, so let's start with Tabletop Simulator, because that seems to be the default go-to for a lot of people now, because it is and let me start by thanking Kenny who put it together, because obviously he had the okay from LSS, from James, to put it together, the mod, because obviously this is not something that we were planning on. Obviously, the game was meant to be played in the Flesh and Blood, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and Tabletop Simulator does a really nice job. It's fairly intuitive once you've had a couple of games on how to play. The cards look great. It looks like you're playing Flesh and Blood, which is really good. And it is an opportunity, if you don't have all the cards from the new set, you can try out the cards and stuff like that. So if you're in a situation where you're in an area that you can't get cards at the moment because of the lockdown, or maybe even for our audience that are in regions that we're currently not selling in, like Canada or the UK or Europe, this does give you an option to try the game. I mean, it'll never replace having the cards in your hands and playing in real life, but in these times of unrest, it is a way that you can play.
Yeah, no, Tabletop Simulator is a great program. First of all, it's available. You need to find it on Steam, and I assume everybody except for me in the world already has a Steam account. I had to sign up for Steam to get it. I do know if you go to the fan page, a lot of people have been buying, I don't know, maybe we should call it the family pack, because you can buy like 5 keys for the game, and then you can gift those other keys to people. So that helps bring down the cost. Shout out to Marnie at Adept Events. Marnie at Adept Events. He brought a 5-pack, and I ended up getting my key for like $18 New Zealand. So that was really cool. I do know Card Merchant has been doing the same thing. But yeah, people have been buying it, so you can actually check on the fan page, or if you want to buy one of those family packs, you can do it and see if people are picking it up left, right, and center. But yeah, it's really cool. It is good if somebody can guide you through it. Ian guided me through some of the Tabletop Simulator stuff last, and that was really helpful because I just was able to voice chat with Ian. He was able to help me out there, and it was cool. We should also
just on that point before you go too far. So there is actually a voice chat option in TTS. I know a lot of people have been just starting a Facebook call in Facebook Messenger and talking over that. But just so you know, there is actually a voice chat in game, and you just need to go to the configurations, and you can just toggle that on by pressing C in game, and that's really good too. Because the other thing you can do with TTS is obviously you're playing 1v1, but you can actually set up so other people can watch your game. And so if you use the in zone chat, people will be able to hear you. Whereas if you're using the Facebook, the people watching can only see the actions; they can't necessarily hear the conversation as well. Yeah.
So that's a really great feature. One of the other really good things, and we'll shout out to FabDB.
Yes,
Kirk. Kirk, one of our greatest listeners as well, hopefully still.
Kirk has one of the biggest wrestling fans I know.
Yeah, certainly. That's why we come back to that subject, just for Kirk. He knows how much we love him. But Kirk has been working on FabDB. So if you have an account with FabDB, you can now
FabDB.net. So if you want to find it.
Yep. So you can go to your deck list, or make a deck list if you've got a new one. Create your deck list. When you've got it done, you'll see down the bottom there is an option. There's various options like to put your deck list in a PDF. There's also now an option called TTS. If you click on that, it will let you save the deck list. Then when you open up Tabletop Simulator, all you need to do is there's an option called Saved Objects. You go into Saved Objects, find the folder that you saved the deck list in, and you can actually just kind of, you can either click on it, or you can actually kind of like click and drag it across, and you'll have your deck all ready to go. Well, not quite all ready to go, because you need to pull out your equipment and herons and weapon. But it's a really good function because you don't need to build it there. You can have multiple decks ready. So I know Kirk has been working with Daily Metrics, I think, and with Card Merchant. And yeah, he's a busy beaver in lockdown. He's been doing a lot of work. So hopefully, the community, well, we appreciate him. Hopefully the community appreciates the work he's doing.
Yeah.
I think he has a Patreon as well.
Yeah,
for
on that I was going to say, definitely if you feel like you can flick a couple of bucks through the Patreon, definitely do that. He's put in a lot of hard work in for the love of the game. So, and really the Patreon is really just to help him with the costs of keeping things up and running. So it'd definitely be great if you can throw in a couple of bucks, Sam. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's cool. The other thing is just check out, there are a bunch of articles coming out about using it. I think the first one I viewed was DM Mamada had a video up about the
How
options
to play.
because there are options besides TTS. I mean, webcam is the one that we've tried and is perfectly good.
It's really good. I personally like webcam. I play other games. I play Super Show with webcam. I like it because you still get to play cards. You still get to shuffle cards.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that TTS is. It takes a little bit of dexterity and a little to get used to it, and it does take away a little bit of the tactile nature of playing cards. So if you've got the means, definitely play some, mix it up, play some cams.
Well,
obviously we understand a lot of people don't have all the new cards. So I do know that in the Metrics Daily Card Merchant League, that if you play on cam, they do have you're allowed up to 10 proxy cards. You just have to have the card fully written out in the sleeve so people know what the stats and stuff are, which is a nice way of doing it. Because again, if you can't afford to get TTS, or if you're working on a laptop that may not run it, may not be powerful enough to run it, there's still that option of playing. And then the third option is another thing that I've never tried, but called Untap, which is again another gaming program which has custom card games in it. But I've heard that's a little buggy. It tends to crash a little bit.
I think one of the big problems with Untap at the moment is a number of people using Untap. I did have a quick look into it, but everyone seemed to be going to TTS, so that was just the easiest one to go over. But Untap is another. I do know people have been playing Fab on Untap. So but I think they have had some server issues just with the amount of people playing games.
That is quite the case, right? As internet is. Imagine if this had happened before high-speed internet. This lockdown would be very different.
Yeah, it would be. We wouldn't be well, I might have actually picked up a phone to call you in. You remember those things? An actual, honest to God, fixed line phone to call you. And I would have been holding up a tape recorder to be if I had a phone with a speakerphone, who knows? Would have had a tape recorder up to it. So that's kind of weird.
That sounds so 90s.
It does. I remember having phone conversations in the 90s. You had to hope that people were home.
Yeah.
You're like, if I'll ring and hopefully he's home. And
not just at home, that no one else in the family wanted to use the phone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember sometimes you'd just drive to somebody's house, and if they weren't home, you'd be like, nuts, that's it.
I actually
turn around, but let's reminisce less.
So that is that, and obviously, as we were saying, Metrics Daily card merchants have done a great job. As they said, they've got a competitive league which has got a $10 buy-in. They've got a casual league which is free to play in, and it looks like, I don't know going forward, but it looks like they're going to be running them as 7-day leagues. So basically, they'll be restarting the league every 7 days, which is cool. Again, as Alan said, we have LSS has reached out to other places, so possibly, hopefully, some of the stores in other countries might start running some online leagues, because the one downside, I guess, about it being a Metrics Daily card merchant league is that the majority of the players are in Australasia. We do have a few Americans in, but the fact that you've only got 24 hours to play your game, it does put that time zone factor in. So, I know not all states in the US are in full lockdown, so some people have still got work time. So just be aware if you are signing up that you need to be a bit flexible so everyone can get their games in. I'll
just for the viewers and people listening when it's podcast, is a couple of just the main points is that now we are opening up the option for online leagues for all stores. So we did do a bit of a trial with Metrics, and their league seems to have run really great. So all stores will now have that option, so they can create events. That means if you participate in the events, you can get XP, and it counts as a normal event, even though you're playing online. So I think it's really cool, because I know some people were wondering about, XP over this period, which doesn't seem like the biggest concern, but at the same time, these are the things you think about lockdown.
Well, when you've got the most XP of anyone in the company you work for, some of us some of us want to keep that up.
Yeah, you got to keep that current. So that's open up to all stores. One of the second point is big shout out to Metrics Daily. Metrics Daily is also offering assistance to any store that wants to run an online league. So basically, they can contact Metrics Daily and they will give help, because I know Metrics Daily is doing things like, accepting deck lists and stuff like that. Yeah. So the stores would still do the actual event and pairings and stuff like that, but Metrics Daily is coming on board and stores can contact them to help. So that's really cool. They're stepping up as a bit of a community leaders in this time. So really happy.
Big shout out to Logan and his team over at Metrics Daily. He really has been quite proactive in this lockdown period, which is great to see.
Yeah, should also just mention shout out to Card Merchant, to Matt Rogers, who's been in isolation for I think double the amount of time now. But he obviously is doing a lot of the back end work with the league. That he's working with Logan. Definitely we should mention Matt as well. He's been working really hard on it. So it's really cool. And also other news is that of course the big guns joined the league yesterday. Development team member Jason Chung has leaped into the league with a first round loss just because he was late. Well, he decided to jump in.
So what you're telling me is I've got a currently better record than Jason in the league since I'm now 1-1.
No, Jason's 1-1 too.
Oh, did he? Has he played his game?
He because he had to jump in for the second round,
right?
Automatic loss for first round, but he won his round two, his first actual playing round.
So I'm the same as Jason. This is what I'm hearing you say, that at this point of time, me and Jason are exactly on par as players in Flesh and Blood.
You are tied up. Yeah, I think you should trumpet that, Ian. I don't think it's anything not to skite about. I always like to say that.
So can I retire now?
No, because you need to only retire once you beat Jason. So you've got to keep a good record. He'll go ahead if you retire now, Ian. Right. But, you've got to keep these small victories where you can.
I still have more XP than him.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so, since he can't really play in any events. It's really cool that Jason's jumping in, and hopefully we'll get to see. I know they're going to be recording some of the streams, or at least I do know top 8 deck lists will be up. I think these things will develop as and we've got time. We've got at least a minimum of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
At this point,
I'll throw it out there to Metrics Daily. I know they've probably got their team worked out, and I don't know if we can work it out technically. But if you'd like me to jump on commentary, because to be fair, I don't think I'm making top 8, or if I scrape into top 8, I'm probably not going to get too far. I am happy to step up and help with commentary as well.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll take your unsolicited offer with the what's the word I'm looking, magnitude that should be dealt with. But an idea did cross my mind that maybe we should do a content creators league at some point. You, me, we could get DM Armada, Dice Commando, maybe. Red
Zone Rogue, who has. Now I tell you what, talking about content creators, we're seeing a lot of pack openings. I just got a shout out. Got a shout out to Red Zone Rogue here. Boy, has he got some beginner's luck in the pulls. Like the first box, he pulled like a foil E-Strike, and then he was pulling legendaries out of his Arcane Rising box. Like I mean, son,
totally rigged.
I want to see him use. I want to see him use what he's pulled, because he has got some good pulls. So
maybe he's actually opened 100 boxes. He's just showing us the recordings of the best ones. That's always a temptation, but I don't think he's opened that many boxes. So it's pretty spectacular. Although I've opened 5 cases and got 7 legendaries out of 5 cases. So I'm batting above the Pearson Pearson line, basically.
I have
It's an average.
opened 2 cases and pulled 1 legendary.
Ooh. Still
and
got 1 case to go.
yeah, and my last box, I did get a box that only had one majestic in it,
Ooh,
which
rough.
is tough. But probably the toughest thing is that my first case didn't. 2 of the boxes didn't have cold foils, but since then, I've pulled 4 of the same cold foil in the accelerated for Dash. So
that's loves you clearly.
yeah. So I will be looking to trade those once trading is a little bit more easy.
Yeah.
Talking about opening packs, one of the other things that I have been getting asked a lot as part of my job, answering questions coming through the Facebook, is are there starters for Arcane Rising? The simple answer is no. No, there's not. Arcane Rising is booster only box, and going forward in the future, we may look at doing starters again. But I feel like it's probably because you pull so many play sets within a box and stuff like that of commons and stuff, that going forward it may only be every other set that we do starters. Again, that is above my pay grade. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that the team has been working hard at fabtcg.com, and we have put up what we call our starters for Arcane Rising. So to help you guys to a jump off point for all 4 of the new characters, as well as I believe there was also upgraded lists for starters for Welcome to Wraith characters, just to help them with the whole balancing with the Runeblade.
That's very cool.
The arcane damage, I should say. So if you are looking for where to start with your characters, because obviously, as we said earlier, for instance, Wizards are very hard deck to just come up with something. Definitely go check out the articles section on fabtcg.com. There's, fabtcg.com, while you're in shutdown, there is a plethora of stuff that you can look through. We've got the card galleries. We've got like the backstories of the heroes. We've got some lore, some more lore about the world of Wraith. Go back and look at some of those like those really interesting articles, like we were talking about when we interviewed MJ, about the article, like how fascinating the article just about the design of the back of the card. I mean, that's really interesting. And as I said, you've got downtime, so why not spend it getting to know Wraith a little better, and check out the articles on fabtcg.com.
Well, in fact, I know very often, things have been hidden on the website, and people have actually found that stuff on the website. So it's always there are always little Easter eggs and all sorts of bits and pieces to be found on the website. So I just echo what Ian says. If you've got some downtime, there's lots of things to find on fabtcg.com. But yes, all right. So I was going to say one thing about the podcast today. What episode are we on today, Ian? What episode have we just?
This is episode 6. So we are now technically the longest running Flesh and Blood podcast ever.
This sequential running. So and that steered I've been
longest episodic.
Yeah.
Get the WWE phrasing in there. Longest episodic podcast.
Yeah. So who's our competition? I believe there was some.
Who is our competition?
Who was? I know not really competition anymore. I mean, was a Sasha Markovic was trying to podcast.
We're calling you out, Sasha. We know you've got some time on your hands.
Exactly.
Let's see if we can hear a little bit more from you. I know I know that he's just recently brought back Pack Wars, his pick a pack thing. So here's putting a little bit more content out. But
come on, we all know Real Men podcast. This is commitment. That's
right.
Come on,
they podcast and wear pink. That's what real men do.
Yeah. So Sasha, we're calling you out, Sasha. You better. We want to see some content besides Pack Wars from you. So we're calling you out, Sasha. This is official. Official call to battle.
After all, Sasha is far more intelligent about deck building and stuff than we are. So he can probably offer the community far more
I don't know, Ian.
Productive content. I mean,
if he doesn't show it, is he really that good? Maybe the magic's gone. Maybe Sasha's he's all done. He's all tapped out.
All right, I'm just looking at the chat. So
we do have some questions from Leo.
Yeah. The first one, of course, goblins. Just play Brute. Brute's a big goblin. That's all I can tell you, man.
And for the card tiers, okay, so the basic card tier in your pack is common. Then you get the next tier is rare. So you get a minimum of at least one. Well, you get a minimum of at least one rare in your pack, up to two, because there's 2 slots basically in there. So after rare, you have super, and then you have majestic. Then you have the legendary, which is only the equipment cards, and then of course you have fabled.
And also remembering that when you are cracking your packs, that the foil card can be any rarity, but legendaries will only ever be in foil. So that's the slot that you're looking for those legendary cards.
Yeah. So where do we go? So how many slots have we actually got? Common, rare, super, majestic, legendary, fable. So we've got six tiers basically, Leo. 6 tiers of cards. But you can find the information on like what appears in a pack. You know, you're actually on fabtcg.com because that information is published. No, actually, foiling out a deck's actually not that hard, Leo. Because you got to remember, you always get one foil card per pack. So foiling out a deck is actually not that hard. And of course, you know, the legendaries, you only need one of each legendary, essentially. So yeah, I mean, we have foiled out decks. You haven't opened all your cases yet, Ian, to figure out what you're foiling out for the season.
No. And to be fair, unfortunately, with my foil pools, I haven't had any foil majestics that are in a class that I was looking to play. So hopefully, again, when trading season comes in, maybe we'll look at it. I originally did want to foil out Dash just because I love the clearness. We've talked about it before, that on a foil card that has boost, they take the reminder text out, so it just says boost in the middle. So it's a nice, clean, crisp deck box. I think the Dash cards look really cool. Might be. All right. But I've got to say the more I've been playing it, I mean, obviously I've gone back to playing Brute, and I will always have a Brute deck put together in one way or another. But I am really enjoying Ranger, and I definitely I'm not sure of my build yet, so I probably won't start trying to foil it out until I understand what my build is, because I had done that before where I started foiling out my ninja deck and then changed how my ninja deck played. And I was like, now I've got all these foils that I don't need.
Yeah, no, that's true. You got to make that decision unless you're going to do something crazy, just like foil out like your whole set of decks, which, you know, is a temptation to do that. But yeah,
there's definitely people who have, I know Jacob, who we talked about, who opened 8 cases. He's got, much like Chris Gearing in the first set, he has gone out and tried to get a full playset foil of every card, so that way he can effectively make any deck a foil deck, which is one way to go about it.
yeah, no, definitely. I'm not sure what I'll do, but we've got time to decide, and we've got Tabletop Simulator to work out what we're gonna do basically. So yeah, and I want to trade. I've got plenty of cards to trade, but you know, no chance to trade them. So hopefully, when we get the office back together, everyone's going to be able to bring in their trades, basically. Because I know, like,
it'd be a good time.
Yeah, at least I'm pretty sure everybody in the studio at least got a case in the studio, so people are going to have trades for it at the moment. All right. Do we have anything else to cover? Because I was thinking I did have a idea for our pop culture section, Ian.
Yes.
Unless
you've
got anything else. Okay.
No, I think can we? I was thinking about this just because I love him so much, and I love how much he loves our pop culture. Can we call this Kurt's Corner?
Kirk Skinner. Yeah, we can definitely we can do that. So let's go into
So
Kurt Skinner.
this is Kurt's Corner, with a shout out to fabdatabase.net. This is where we're not going to talk about Fab. We're going to talk about other stuff.
So I had a little inspiration because something that I was actually talking to you briefly, I mentioned in the other week, because one of the things, everyone's working from home. So I'm pretty sure almost everybody out there is going to be having something going on their laptop that they probably wouldn't watch if they were actually in the office. You know, everyone's probably listening to a podcast while they're typing, or they've got some YouTube up or something like that. You know, I mean, come on, people, own up. This is what happens when you work from home. But one of the things I saw is that Hasbro have put up all the early episodes of the G.I. Joe cartoon on YouTube for people to watch, which is really cool because I haven't seen those episodes in a long time. And I thought this week's question should be is to maybe go over not necessarily your me and Ian's favorite cartoon, but just our favorite kids show when we were growing up. Ian, what was your session? Maybe you don't pick one, but maybe just mention a couple if you can't pick one definitively, because I
have some ideas. I really enjoyed G.I. Joe. We didn't get it here live to air, but when video stores started here, we used to get the compilations. We used to get the G.I. Joe movies, but we also used to get the compilations of episodes where I think there'd be four or five episodes on a videotape. So I was a big fan. I was a big G.I. Joe collector, so that was always a favorite.
Did you get the bubblegum cards?
No, not really. But I did once send away. I cut out the little points at the back and send away, and I got Refrigerator Perry with his football mace. That was the
terrifying weapon.
LT, who went on to main event a WrestleMania.
Hey, didn't he beat Bam Bam Bigelow?
He did. He beat.
Sorry, not Bam Bam Bigelow. It was
Vader,
it
was Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay.
It was Bam Bam Bigelow, and it was the main event. Lawrence Taylor.
Wow. I might have to go check down that main event.
That's two G.I. Joe characters that have main evented at WrestleMania. Of course, Sergeant Slaughter and Hogan were in WrestleMania's 1's main event.
Did you see how we just brought that back around?
To wrestling?
Yep.
You like
circle.
That?
I had the bubblegum cards too. My mum got me a whole box of the bubblegum cards for my birthday one year.
God,
whole box.
That bubblegum was awful, wasn't it? Pink
banana.
Oh.
No, it was banana flavored.
Was that? All right, yeah, even worse. So probably a lesser known one, and probably shows how I'm probably a little bit older than most of the people who will be listening or watching this. But there's a show that I remember that I loved, and part of the reason I loved it was because of the theme song. And the show was Jamie and the Magic Torch. And basically the crux of the show was this kid Jamie. He had a magic torch, and at night he'd be tucked into bed, and when his mum closed the door, he'd get out his magic torch. He'd shine it underneath his bed, which would make this big slide that would go into this fantastical world. And there was there was a big dog that was a big talking dog that was his friend. There was a policeman that didn't have legs, that instead he had a one unicycle wheel, and his helmet had a siren on it and stuff like that. But the theme song was just great, and I'm not going to regale you guys with it, but what I might do is I might put the link to it when we post the podcast. Again, it was one of those it was on after school and 3:45 live, because it was only about a 15-minute show. It wasn't a full half-hour show. So there was that. Another show within a show that I loved cartoon-wise was the D&D show, which in New Zealand showed during What Now on Saturday mornings, and that was again, the real-life kids getting sucked into the D&D universe.
Yeah,
and
and that
having
was
to
super scary
find their
too.
way, and having to find their way home. It was cool. I actually thought it was a little bit ahead of its time. So those were for when I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I still watched a lot of TV, and probably Doug is one that always stuck with me as a fan favorite. I was a big fan of Doug, and of course, anyone who's my generation, maybe your generation as well. My favorite show on a Saturday morning was The Muppet Show.
Yeah, yeah, that is classic. So many good guest stars. Yeah, that was a great show. I mean, you can still find the repeats, I think, on YouTube and stuff.
And you wouldn't believe how many pub quiz questions I've answered over the years because of knowing guest stars that were on that. Like, the only reason I knew them was they were a guest star on the Muppet Show. Yeah. People like Yo-Yo Ma and stuff like that. So educational as well.
Yeah.
How about you, Alan? What
I'm thinking back. I'll mention a few shows because there's so many I've forgotten as kids. Like, I was trying to think of, like, one of the things I really loved was there's so many good British kids shows that were actually like super scary. But most of the titles have faded from memory. And I think there's like a Twitter channel. It's called like Scared. Was it Scared Too Young or something like that? That pops up showing off some of these shows. But they were really cool. But the ones that come to mind, obviously, Transformers and G.I. Joe. Although again, much like you, Ian, I probably saw those on videos. We did get a video player. We rented one for a while, but we would have seen them on video. So G.I. Joe and Transformers I was definitely obsessed with, but didn't actually have that many toys. Because I only really got toys for my birthday, basically. So that was only once a year. And Christmas, of course. But the ones that stick with me are some of the British shows that were the Super Mario Nation. UFO, Terrorhawk, and Joe 90.
Yep.
Terrorhawks was cool because they had those. Each side had these little robot minions, and the good guys had the little spheres, the little spheres, and the bad guys had the cubes, and the cubes had different faces depending on what they were doing. And Terrorhawks had some cool ships.
And they had the end credits was like a game of tic-tac-toe between the good and the bad minions. Yeah.
So that was a really cool show. Joe 90 as well, because obviously he became a fighter pilot or whatever he needed to do, but just by putting on his glasses, because his glasses had a little microchip that gave Joe whatever abilities he needed to carry out the mission.
Which I'm pretty sure for any of our American viewers is what Johnny Quest was based off.
Yep, true. Yeah, the Super Mario Nation was really cool. They, with the puppets, and obviously Thunderbirds was like the basic, like the first version.
Stingray as well.
Yep, no Stingray. You saw the development of the puppets and their craft throughout.
Captain Scarlet, which was more of a movie, but still using the Mario Nation. Yeah.
Yep, and what they eventually did was a series called UFO, which used like the models and that style of action, but actually used actors in it, which was all about alien invasion, and again was super scary. So they had real actors, but all the ships and space scenes were all done kind of Mario Nation style. And I think that was one of the last of the like Super Mario Nation stuff, but I could be wrong because I'm not the biggest. I'm not the biggest fan on that. But probably as a kind of like the other one that always sticks with me, and it's probably quite significant because was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I hadn't seen the comics. I was way too young to have gone to a comic shop or seen the comics at that time. So the animated show was amazing, but also the big thing is the animated show was one of the first like the major shows from a new TV channel, TV3.
Yeah.
Up until at that time in New Zealand, you had exactly
Russell Rooster and everything.
Yeah, you had two channels. You had Channel 1 and Channel 2. And Channel 2 was the entertainment-y channel. So it had American shows. TV1 was the news and also the kind of like the British channel, basically.
The BBC stuff,
Yeah, and so
actually, you do remind me another not quite the Marionette, but another great British show that I always used to watch in the school holidays mainly. I was a bit old for the show, but I always enjoyed it. Was Sooty and Sweet.
Yep. Sooty and Sweet.
And Basil
Rainbow.
Brush. Basil Brush, Rainbow. Yeah, they were all great. They were all great.
Wombles. Let's give a shout out to Wurzel Gummidge as well. Wurzel Gummidge. Yeah. And I suppose the other one as a kid that was like a defining memory, of course, is Doctor Who.
Of course.
I watched many a Doctor Who episode from behind the couch.
Cool.
I remember when we had the 25th anniversary of Doctor Who, and we got to see the Silver Nemesis, the 25th anniversary show, before they actually even played it in the UK for some reason.
Yeah, but it was because of the time delay.
Yeah, and Doctor Who, and obviously I'm still a big Doctor Who fan, as it is. And this year,
so with that, did you like Blake Seven?
Yes, I did Blake Seven, but Blake Seven was possibly even scarier.
It was
Blake Seven.
Blake
Seven.
It was super dark. Yeah. Blake Seven. There was
Oh, you watched the first episode of Blake Seven now, and it still stands up really well, and it's quite a terrifying future in Blake Seven.
I remember seeing the finale of Blake Seven, and it was just so bleak. There was no happy ending. It was very Shakespearean tragedy.
Yeah, no, Blake Seven. Terry Nation, who created the dialects. Blake Seven does. I mean, the pacing is a little bit off compared to like modern shows, but if you go back and find those episodes of Blake Seven, they stand up pretty well. But a little bit scarier for kids, a little bit more serious. But at the same time, these were shows that kids watched in those days, so
you didn't have options.
This was my excuse.
There was no streaming. It was you had two channels and you watched what you watched.
Yeah. Well, see, this is
now I am gonna ask you, how about kids shows that you absolutely hated when you were a kid, like the shows that you were like,
I'm trying to think.
There is one show that I always remember that I was always disappointed because it was always kind of at the end, like it after school would go like after school with Ollie Olsen or 340 Live with like Fenella Barfield and those guys. And then you go like that into a 30-minute cartoon of something like the Smurfs or something like that. And then it would go into another kids show before they went into whatever led into the news, which was usually a game show. And that slot was always the worst slot. And the show that I remember the most from it as a kid, going, I can't sit through another episode of this, was The Littlest Hobo. Which was like, The Littlest Hobo was a traveling dog drama. Think of the lines of Lassie and Benji and that, but the thing about this dog is that I'm guessing because they didn't want to pay a star, was that there was no ongoing human person in it. So like each episode was this the Littlest Hobo had moved on to help whatever, wherever he needed help, and it was so so boring.
Now that you've got me thinking, there is a couple of shows. I absolutely loathed Curious George. I was like, that damn monkey. Somebody put a bullet in that damn monkey. I hate that damn monkey. And there was another one, which I cannot remember the name on. It was like a foreign one, but it was about this kid that had, somewhere in Europe, and he had to get a moose somewhere. So each episode would be him and his moose trying to get to whatever endpoint was the finale of a show.
Right.
But he'd always lose the moose during the episode. So the episode was all about him getting the moose back, and it just very grating. Sorry, I've got one other show I've just thought about thinking about that one, but I did love.
Yeah.
Maybe I loved and hated it. Do you remember Teabag?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Teabag.
You're really aging yourself here because
Teabag. I think I loved and hated that show. I don't know. I can't remember enough about Teabag, to be honest, but there was always puzzles and quests, and Teabag was the villain.
Was a witch,
and obviously teabagging means something completely different now.
But Teabag was a witch in that, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think she was. And there was always these clues, like the girl character ended up in some kind of zone place, and she had to figure out the clues to get to another step to defeat Teabag. But that's another memory. It's just come back to me. All right. Well, I think that's enough droning on.
Rambling on.
Evening. Yeah, rambling on. I've got to make dinner tonight. B's gone to bed. It's time to make some tacos, and also me and Jess have been watching CSI from season 1.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. It's we've just hit season 2 of original CSI. So somebody's got to do it.
That reminds me what I am watching in the background, which I probably should have brought up in the last conversation. But I have started watching all of X-Men '92 on Disney Plus, which
shout out to Disney Plus.
Again, to be fair, I was a teenager when that came out, so not so much a kid, but it was a good show. It was a good show.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I think it's time for us to sign off on this new weekly podcast. I assume hopefully we'll be back next week as well.
We're definitely going to try and work out our recording issues and get some games up and get some more stuff up on the YouTube channel and for you guys. But so obviously keep an eye out on the YouTube channel, on the Twitch channel, on if you haven't liked our Facebook page, that's where we post first. So that's just Radio Reflex IVA on Facebook, and that's the same for the Twitch channel. And of course, this will go out on the podcast at Podbean at iainversusalan.podbean.com. But until next time, stay safe and wash your damn hands.